2013 marks the 10th anniversary of Good Day USA. To celebrate this milestone, we've assembled an exceptional group of speakers for this first summit. We've over 120 attendees. We have 35 speakers and panelists.
We wanted to establish a strong tourism event as part of the G'day USA program, an event to bring together thought leaders and industry operators to share information and insights, to network, to discuss opportunities.
You've got a high quality audience here. These are people who are active sellers of travel. You've got the right suppliers, you've got the right tourism marketers in the room. So this is a great environment to facilitate the exchange of information, start the networking, do the deals.
For me, it's a learning experience. So it's learning and getting to understand the sophistication of the requirements of the market and the consumer, and also learning about the latest techniques from a marketing point of view.
Australia is seen as a high aspiration destination. It reaffirms that for me, but I think what's lacking for all of us is a sense of urgency to actually go to Australia, which we see in the high aspiration, low conversion numbers.
I don't think Australia should focus on the homogenisation of a broad national demographic of peoples from all over the world. I don't think it should focus on we have everything that everybody else has. I think it should focus very, very clearly on what Australia has that nobody else has, because that's the fundamental reason that someone will go.
There's no other place you're going to be able to see what you see in Australia, aside from the animals that are unique to the continent. There's just so much about Australia that's really magnificent, and you can go to a lot of cities. They're not Sydney. You can see a lot of forests, but they're not Tasmania.
I think there are thousands of stories to be told in Australia, and rather than trying to kind of hit 8 different destinations in the 2 weeks you're there, I would really focus in on 1 or 2 or 3 places.
You got to show me something I've never seen before, or you got to show me something that our viewers have seen 600 times, but in a new way.
Right.
And that gets challenging, but I think with the variety in Australia, it's very possible.
I think one of the things Australia needs to do is to get the people who've been there to tell their friends, because the importance we place on recommendations from people we know, hugely, hugely important.
Social media is a very, very exciting landscape, but if you're only measuring it based on pure ROI or ticket sales, it's going to be hard to justify. What you need to do is start thinking about the stickiness it creates, the engagement, the data collection that you can learn about your guests, your users, and so you really need to start analyzing it more as a relationship builder, a content strategy, and a community strategy.
Really important to engage in the conversation. The conversation will be happening about your operation, whether you're a part of it or not. If you're a part of it, you can turn that negative to a positive.
Start with people who love your product. Start with your fans. Make them connections. You will end up with an army of marketers advocating your brand on your behalf. Then engage them with good content. I think Tourism Australia are doing a great job of that. And then if that content is good enough, you'll see those fans influencing other people.
Using G'day and a lot of other platforms, we want to be telling a better story about Australian food and wine and the Australian travel experience.
This summit creates a further opportunity to strengthen our foundations, to grow our industry, and in doing so, to grow your businesses.
We have a very passionate industry keen on selling our country, but what we learnt over the last couple of days was better ways to do that. The power of advocacy. We learnt from the research that we have assets that we're not selling well enough, and we need to do that better. But we heard from some of the biggest names in global travel, people like Google, Facebook, Expedia, TripAdvisor, American Express, and they gave freely of their time. They weren't advertisements for them, and they had great takeaways for the people in this room.